All right, on popular demand, I'm going to try to video the install of the running board LEDs. I couldn't, when I found this truck, it had everything I wanted in it. It's a 2017 XD diesel, 6.5 foot bed, everything I wanted, except it didn't have the lights. Now I bought this in a week, I'll have it a year, but I bought it December 27th, 2017, and I always wanted these lights. I know there's a lot of questions out there about installing them. I'm not a movie maker, I'm not a video maker, so I've done the best I could. I don't have a tripod. Actually, the camera right now is, the iPhone's propped up on a bunch of books. But I did the best I could. Hopefully you'll see some of the ins and outs. I will tell you that the puddle lights on these lights are not enough. I live out in the country. I have lighting in my driveway, but I don't have very much lighting anywhere else. There's an automatic light in the garage that goes on when you pull in, so when you get out of the car, you're not going to trip over everything. But I work nights, I work days. I usually leave in the morning when it's dark. This is a really, really nice feature. And I'm actually doing this intro after the install. The install is completely done. Lights work perfect. And I'll show them to you at the end of the video how they work. Anyway, let's get going. But please, I'm not a video maker, so don't comment on the video. Hopefully there's something in there you can learn from. Also, I know a lot of you guys are mechanics or you play with cars a lot. I've done it all my life. I grew up with the muscle cars. We worked on them all the time. And so I'm not going to bore you with unbolting. I had to unbolt the running boards, and I had to loosen them up a little bit and move them so I could do the install and put the wire in. I'll explain that in the video. But my point is, I wasn't going to bore you as I took out 12 screws from a running board. So I just kind of explained it and showed you what I did at the end. Anyway, hope you like it. And for you guys on the Titan XD forum, thank you. You've given me a lot of good information. I hope this helps you. All right, this is the driver's side of the vehicle. I've removed the little kick panel there and the trim where the cables go up that we need access to wire this thing up. Now, when I get, these are off already. When I get to the other side, the passenger side, I'll actually show you how to remove those properly and how to put them back in. As we move in, you will see that there is a cable, your cable harness that runs up underneath your carpet here, and it comes up here into the back. And when we go underneath, there is a accessory cable that is tied up. Let me see if I can get a better shot of that. All right, I'll see if I got a better shot of this now. But under the panel that we removed by where your left foot would be as you're driving the car, there is this connector is just hanging down, and that is not the one we want. We want this connector back here. If I can get a shot of it, not sure. But this connector back here is your accessory connector. And as you can see, it's taped up underneath. It was taped all the way back. You actually have to look for it carefully. It's got 12 wires on it, and the color code matches what the book says. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, obviously, if you look at this, it's really hard to get to this cable to wire it, and I don't want to really wire directly to the car. Therefore, I bought the accessory service connectors, which are the male counterpart of, I'm sorry, let's see, male or female? Okay. Yeah, it's the female counterpart of this, which is the service connectors that I purchased. And what will happen is I will wire them without actually wiring to the car, and then I can simply plug them in. I'll show you as we get to it. But remember, this connector is taped all the way back on the inside. You can't see it. If you look right there, it's all taped up. and I cut the tape, took the tape off, and here's my accessory connector back here. This connector, I'm not sure. I'll have to look up what it is. It could be, I don't know, trailer braking or something, but this is the connector you want. It's got 12 wires on it that match the color code of the connectors in the book. They'll show you, I'll show you on the diagram where that is. Now, one of the problems with not getting these lights from the factory is that they don't put the inner hole in the vehicle, and unfortunately you have to drill the hole. It's a 5/8 inch hole, and that hole is going to go approximately here. I'm going to give you more detail on it because in the instructions there's a bolt, 2 bolts over here, and they want you to drill 65 millimeters away from the bolt and about 25 millimeters away from the edge. Now, for those of you that are metrically challenged, that's about 2.5 inches, and I have to look up 25 millimeters, but I'd say 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. But anyway, I'm going to show you, but I'm going to put tape down first. And one of the things I'm going to do, I want to pull this carpet out of the way, okay, so I have better access. And I want to hold the wiring harness back. Well, the only way I can do that, I don't really want to stick anything in there, but what I'm going to do is I put a bungee under my seat to the frame, and I'm going to put the bungee on here to hold everything out of the way. Stand by 1 second. Okay, now I can show you. The camera's going to shake a little while I get down here, but as you look back along the sill and you follow it all the way back, there are 2 little bolts under there. Let's see if I can get my finger right there. There's 2 bolts. There's one behind that, and that's the front one. And that's where they want you to measure forward 65 millimeters, and you're going to be drilling the hole approximately here. And what I'll do is I'll put a piece of tape on there and mark it, because when I drill, I like to drill through tape. And I'll show you where it is. So stand by while I put tape down. Okay, I've marked where to cut the hole now. I have a little piece of tape there with a X on it, with I did with a Sharpie. But from that bolt out is about 2.5 inches plus maybe a 1/16. 65 millimeters is what they call it. And that comes out to a little bit over 2.5 inches. I mean a little, like a 1/16. And then 1 inch, approximately 1 inch from the outside, which is 25 millimeters. And that's where I'm going to be drilling the hole. And I'll try to get a video of that. And if not, I'll just show you the finished hole. And of course, we're going to rust proof it when we're done. And I'm doing the hole the day before the actual install so that I can give the rust proofing a chance to kind of harden up a little bit. Okay. All right, there's the 5/8 inch hole. I did it in progressive steps. I used 4 different drills. I'll show you a picture of those, but you know what I mean by different size drills. So now all I have to do is put rust proofing on that, and this side is ready for the install. All right, now I'm going to show you how to take the trim off on the passenger side, and it'll be the same as it was for the driver's side. I'm a big believer in the right tool for the right job, as Scotty used to say. But anyway, we're going to, for $5 at Harbor Freight or any store in your area, whatever part of the country you're in, you can buy these trim tools. They're plastic, they won't scratch things up, and they work really well. I'm going to use this one. This is the one I'm going to use to remove the front panel plug, and I'll show you what that is in a second. I'm going to walk over to the car now and show you how to, or the truck I should say, and I'm going to show you how to take those panels off. All right, I don't have great lighting, but here's the passenger side of the vehicle, and I'm going to take this tool, this end, not this end, we'll need that in a minute, and I'm going to slip it underneath right there. Let's go to the end here, and I'm just going to pull right up. It should pop right up. Just don't over force it. You don't want to break anything. Now when I get it up that far, I can simply pop it. Okay, It's now off all the way up to where the kick panel is. And I'll see if I can get better light on there, and I'll continue in a moment. Okay, if you look at this panel right here, it's attached in 3 places. And the one place has a plug that we need this tool to pull the pin out. And we're going to use that end. Okay, so let me see if I can move the camera around to show you. Up in the corner, all the way up here, is that little pin you want to pull. And I don't know if I can do it while holding the camera, but it comes out very easily with this tool. Boop-a-doo. Here, let me see if I can get a better shot so you can see it. Okay, when I get my tool under it, and we pull the plug. Like I said, it's very easy to do, but I'm trying to hold the camera at the same time. Okay, what I did was I put the camera down and it was just piece of cake, just came right out. So just be aware that it's hard to do while you're holding the camera, but you'll get the idea. You guys are probably pretty good mechanics. Now I'll show you how the panel comes out. Now before I pull the passenger side, let me show you the back side of the driver's side, which is the same as the passenger side, just totally opposite. But anyway, you can see that's where the hole where I pulled the plug with the tool. Now, there's 2 places this is connected behind. There's that little fella that pulls straight out, and there's that little piece there which pulls straight out. So as an example, I'll show you when we pull it, we're going to take the top of this and tilt it back, and then we're going to take, well, I'm sorry, we're going to take the bottom and pull it out, and then we're going to pull the top straight out. Let me see if I can show you that over at the car truck. And I'm going to try to do this while holding the camera. But basically what you do is you take, now that it's loose at the top, you can pull it back. It's loose, see, it's loose already. And then it should pop straight back. Hey, I'm sorry guys if you know, this video isn't that good, but doing the best I can with what I got. Okay, so if I pull this back, okay, just clicked or popped, and now it'll come off. Now you can see back here where it was attached, and we're just going to pull it straight out. And trust me, it comes out easy, but I got to put the camera down to pull it off. So anyway, I got the passenger side out. I'm sorry, it's hard to do. I got to get a tripod for the camera, which I haven't done yet. But this is kind of my first video like this. So anyway, the whole piece comes out, and as you can see on the back, we had that little piece there that pops straight out, it locks in, and we also have this piece up here. It's hard to see, that's held in place, but you'll figure it out. It's not hard, just don't over force it. And while we're at it, I don't know if you noticed, but I had my tailgate Line-X'd. The bed is nice, but that rubber or plastic thing that comes on the tailgate, it's actually, I use my tailgate like everybody else does. It's my workbench. So I took this over to Line-X, and they did a great job for, I think it was $70. I just brought them the panels. I actually left them the whole tailgate, and they did it, and it's beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, let's get back to the install. So now we've exposed the electrical harness, And we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. We're going to move it back and measure for a hole. I also want to show you how you can get to that accessory connector. And that accessory connector, as you can see, is taped. Let's see if we can get you a good shot. Right there, in all this mess, this one's taped a little better than the other one. It was exposed. On the driver's side, it was not exposed. But this is the connector you want to get to. It's got 12 wires on it that match the color coding, which again I'll go over on the instructions with you. But you're going to cut it loose because I'm going to wire the accessory connector, and when I'm ready I'll plug it in. So let me get ready to drill the hole on this side, and then I can get it rust proofed and finish the install tomorrow. The passenger side accessory connector, and that one was easier to get to than the other side. It was exposed right here, but on the driver's side it was really hidden and you had to look for it. But there it is. That's the male. The female is the service connector that you buy, the accessory service connector they call it. So we don't have to wire directly to the car up here. What we're going to do is we're going to wire the accessory connector, which I'll show you in detail, and then you just have to plug it in. Get ready to drill the hole. All right, well, this side, the passenger side, is way easier to work with than the driver's side was for some reason, but you can see that bolt that I'm going to measure from in there. In a second I'll show you the tape in place, but where I have to drill the other accessory hole for the LED lighting power lines to get through. But this was a lot easier on this side to get to than it was on the driver's side. All right, there's the hole on the passenger side. I guess this stuff on here is soundproofing, or combination of soundproofing, rust proofing. It did chip a little bit here. I guess the bit slipped a little bit. The hole's nice and clean. I'm still going to go around it with a little file, clean it up. Then I'll re-vacuum it with my shop vac. And once the rust proofing's on this afternoon, then tomorrow I can just go ahead and do all the electrical hookup. All right, and there's the different size bits I used. I used 6 different size bits, and I progressively worked up the hole. And the one all the way on the right here is the 5/8, and it made it a lot easier to get through that without tearing the metal to pieces. I hated drilling through my truck, but I had no choice. Now this is the passenger side, and I rust proofed it. I put some stuff down. I'll try to get a picture of it. But both sides are now clean. The 5/8 inch hole is nice and clean and round, and now it's also got rust proofing on it. So now I feel better. And tomorrow I'll be able to put all the wires in and the grommet, and we should be good to go. Now in preparation, you're supposed to remove the front pad, top pad on the running boards, and the front piece. And I'm going to show you a close-up of that in a second. I took it off already. When I do the passenger side, I'll try to video it so you can see. It is a bitch to get off, and they give you a new one with the package. Because when you take the old one off, and if we come over here, this is the old pad I just took off. If you look on the back, all these little white dots, they were the, I'll put one here. Those are the little seals, I'm sorry, the little, I forget what you call them, but those are the things that lock in place. And as you see, when you pull them off, they break off. I can't see any other way around it, but they break off. But it's okay because they give you a new one in the package. And that one already has these clips on it, and they should just spring right into the same hole again when I'm done. This is the front part, and I just dropped 2 screws, but this is the front part that you take off. We're going to discard this. They give you a new one in the kit. And it uses a T30 Torx to get it off. It's in, it's screwed in, you take the screws out, pops right out, no problem. So there's a piece of the running board, and that's what's left of it. And it came off of the driver's side, and we will show you how not only it goes back on, but we'll show you on the passenger side how we get it off. All right, I've unboxed everything that came in the kit. I just wanted to show it to you. Obviously the long rails on the back are the LEDs, and you can see this side with the LEDs sticking out, and this one you can see the back end. Now I thought if you look at these, you'll see they look like they're in crooked, but what I noticed was the lights are actually angled so that they throw light in the right direction, which I thought was, you know, pretty smart. There's the new covers for the front of the running boards, and the spring clips I showed you, the other ones, they break off when you pull them out. These are intact, and when I snap it back in, it should be fine. And there's the top portion. They give you new end caps for your running boards. I don't know why they do that. I checked them out. They're exactly the same as the ones I took off, but I'll take new ones, what the hell. And now we have all the wiring over here. These are the Tap connectors, some tape, the control module, the grommets, and the ties that they give you to fasten everything down. This side that I've opened is for the passenger side. It does the most wiring. This kit I haven't opened yet. But I wanted to show you this. This is the accessory connector. I showed you where the accessory connector was in the vehicle, and I'm telling you that this is the best way to go. I'm going to wire this end of the LEDs when they come in, when I run them through the hole I drilled. I will tie them into here, and I don't have to tie them directly into the truck, into that wiring. And then I will simply take, when I'm done, I will simply take the service connector, plug it in underneath, and hopefully everything will work the first time. But I just wanted to show you how the kit comes. I will tell you that these are plastic. It's a heavy-duty plastic. I'm not unhappy about that, but my point of that is they tell you in the directions to take the running board off. And I thought I'd be a wise guy and leave the running board on because they're flexible enough to slide into the front where they go into the little channel for the LEDs. The problem is that under this support here, right there, there's a hole in the bottom where the wiring gets fed through and then wound back up into the truck. The problem is there's no way to get that wiring in there without unbolting the running board and then running the wire through. Now I'm going to unbolt the running board, and as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 supports for it. Each one of them has 2 bolts underneath the running board. There'll be 2 bolts on each one. And I'm not going to bore you with watching me take off the running board, but I probably won't have to remove it. I'll just have to loosen it enough to get the wire in. And I'll have to do it on each side. It's a 12mm bolt under there, and I will take care of that and be back with you in a minute. As you can see, I've loosened the running board. It literally took me 45 seconds to take all those bolts out. I did leave 1 bolt in the very back loose so that it wouldn't fall off. I don't have to take the rail completely off. But what we'll do is, I needed to be able to lift this side. As you see that there's 3 bolt holes there. Actually 2 bolt holes, 1 on each end. The one in the middle is where the wire is going to run. So in order to get the wire through there without breaking it, you really need to loosen this. You have to hold it up while you put the wire in, and I'll try to get a shot of that. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to insert the LEDs for the driver's side now, and we'll see if we can get a shot of that. All right, here's a close-up. I've started the strip into the running board, and I apologize, I do not have a tripod, so I have to do this one-handed, which is slowing down the install, but I'm sure we'll be okay. Okay, we're almost all the way in. Hopefully there's no problem. Make sure. That goes in appropriately. See, now that wire's a little tight on there. I don't want to scrape it and strip it. Make sure the LEDs are okay. Alright, I'm going to have to put the phone down, but there's a wire sticking up a little bit here. I'm going to have to figure out a way to push it down, because if it hits this edge, it's going to take the insulation off. But we should have that done in a second. Alright, I want to show you what I had to do here. This wire that goes to the first LED, the red and black wire, were tie wrapped on the end of that LED, and there's I just cut that off. They put it on too high and it wouldn't slide in, and I didn't want to force it in because I didn't want to strip the insulation. So I cut it, cut the tie wrap. I'm going to push those wires down. I'm going to re-tie wrap them. I have some small tie wraps in my toolbox, and that should be able to slide this whole thing right in without any resistance. Now I moved the wire, took the old tie wrap off. I moved the wires so they're not in the way now, and I put another tie wrap in. Now you may say to yourself, well, why put another one in? But you really don't want this wire vibrating over the years, because eventually it'll go right through the insulation. And this way it's solid, it's in place, and it's ready to go. As you can see, it'll slide right in. Whoops. In a second it'll slide right in. I have to use both hands, guys, sorry. Alright, now I have the LED light bar in, and what I'm going to do, and this is the whole reason you had to unbolt the board, is I'm going to take these wires and I'm going to put them through the hole they want you to put it through, which is in the middle of the bolts. I'm going to run the cable through there, and then I'm going to have to get on the ground, and I'm going to have to get on the ground and put the phone down again, because I can't do this with one hand. And I'm going to line up the running board so the hole is exactly over that, and then I can bolt the running board back on. Alright, there's a picture of the wiring harness coming through that middle hole. I've lined it up, it's perfect. If you look at the front of the running board, you'll see that the LED assembly sticks out a little bit. And that's fine, because the piece that goes on the front, it mates to it, and there's an opening for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put one bolt in here now so that the running board is not wobbly. And that's lined up just perfect, just the way I want it. And now what I'm going to do is, this wire gets tie wrapped up here, and when I'm done I'll show you a picture of that, but it gets tie wrapped up here neatly, and then underneath, just above this support, there's a hole in the side. It's covered with a piece of material, and I'm going to try to get a really good shot of that. Oop, finger in the way. And that's how it gets fed into the vehicle, and I'll show you a picture of that from the other side. Alright, I'm now under the truck, and at the top of the front support for the running board, there is this little covering right here. And this little covering, we peel it off, and behind it is the hole on the bottom part of the sill that we can get the wiring through. And I'm going to try to pull it off while holding the camera, but you kind of get the idea. It's right in front of the first support, and as you can see, I'm getting it a little, but again, I'm going to have to put the phone down. I'll show you the hole when I get it off here. Be back in a minute. There she be. Now, for the sake of the video, I went through the trouble of taking off the front running board support, and that's one hole for it, and that's the other, because I wanted to show you
It's hard to get the camera in there, but I wanted to show you that there is a hole here, and it's covered by a black, it's almost like a felt paper, but that's the hole up there where my finger is, where we're going to put the grommet through. That comes with the harness assembly, and then from here, my hole is drilled about right here up into the sill. So I'm going to push the wire through, go up and look, and take a needle nose plier and pull the wire through, and then I can put a grommet on it. Now I'm only going to show you this side. I know you've taken a video of the second side. It's exactly the same, but there is a little piece of felt covering a hole that's already there from the factory specifically for this purpose. All right, and there's the wire. I fished it through. Now I'm going to go underneath, tie wrap everything up, make it nice and neat. And while I'm over here, I'll probably wire the connectors last. I'll probably do the other side install first. The only thing I want to show you on the other side is how to take the running board cover off, because that can look like a bitch, but you don't have to worry about breaking it, the cover that is, because we have a new one to put on there. But there's the wire coming through, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's grommeted. All right, well, there's the cable and its protective covering. It's now tie wrapped where it's supposed to be according to directions. Goes up over the top, and it goes inside up there, and it goes inside, and that little grommet is now in place. And we have the wire pulled through up in the passenger compartment. So we're done with this side. I'm not going to show you me taking off the bolts on the running board on the other side. That's a waste of time. You guys know how to do that, and I did it on the first one. However, I can tell you I haven't torqued the bolts on the running board yet. I'll do that last. Make sure there's no problems. I'm talking funny, I think, because I'm laying under the car with my head in a funny position, trying to get the shot. But there it is. Done with this side. All right, I told you I'd show you how to get this running board cover off. And as you can see, I've got the one pry tool. I lifted to get some space in here. Now, the trick is to stay on the front part in case you scratch it. That you got a new one of those in the kit. So if you scratch that trying to get in, you've got a new one to replace it. Now, I don't like using metal tools on the plastic area, but I don't have much of a choice. And you'll hear a pop. I don't think I can do this while holding the camera, but you'll hear this pop. Trust me, you'll hear the pop. There we go. If you could hear that pop, those are the spring clips breaking free from the inside. It's a horrible noise, but that's the way they come off, and they give you new ones to put on. So, excuse me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way down and pull this whole thing off. Comes off fairly easy once you get the first one popped. All right, I've popped all the spring clips. I got to tell you, this is the hardest part of this whole job, is taking this cover off. Once it's on for good. So as you can see, I have it loose and it just pulls out. Again, I wish I had a tripod because it would help you guys see how I had to struggle with that, but I got it. I haven't heard any pain or anything, which is a good thing because the truck's ceramic coated. But this will pull right out. It shoves in underneath, and let's see here. There we go. And there's one more clip in there. There we go. Now it's off. And the only other thing I have to do, as you can see, most of the clips have broken off. Throw that over there. There is, to get this cover off, there's two screws. They're, go on this side. They're Torx, T30 Torx. You take them off, this whole front end just slides right off. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to run the wire. I'm going to put the LEDs in, run the wiring. I already showed you how to do that on the other side.
and then we'll continue with the inside wiring.
All right, I now have the front piece off the running board, but I did forget to tell you something. I told you the spring clips break off of that when you pry it off, and what happens is the spring clips are stuck in the channels here. So just remember to take all these spring clips and push them out. Push them to the end and take them all out. They all come out very easily. Anyway, so I'm going to put the camera down, take those spring clips off, run the wiring, and then we can do the inside.
All right, there's the control module wired to the accessory connector. The only thing I have to do now is go in the car and put the black and red wire from the LEDs onto this, and when I do the driver's side, which will be even simpler, all I have to do is plug these connectors in. I'll have this all taped up, very neat looking. When I put it together, I'll show you what that looks like.
Passenger side is wired in. Now I'm going to wire the driver's side, which is much simpler. It's just 2 wires, and the 2 wires are going to go to, using those 2 little posi tap connectors, are going to go to this service connector, and I'm going to connect the red and black wire on the LEDs on the driver's side. One word of caution: when you use these posi connectors, use the gray end goes in first, because you have to twist the connector, and if you put this end in first, you can't turn the connector without twisting up the wires. So when you get the posi connector, just remember to put the gray side on first. All right, everybody, I wired it up, plugged it in, double checked my wires, as you should always do, and of course I tested it before I put it on camera, but first time it works. Let me turn it on, however we get the thing to turn on. Here, try this. There we go. There's my driver's side, working like a champ. And if we walk around the back of the vehicle and come over here, and there's the LEDs on the right side. Let me turn them on again. They work like a champ. They look beautiful. They go off when they're supposed to. Work first time. I'm telling you, that accessory connector is the way to go. I'll have more in a moment. All right, both kick panels are in, and the trim. And lights are still working very well. And what we're going to do now is I have to torque to specification the running board, because I haven't done that yet. I got everything else done. And I'll snap on the cap, and then the installation will be done in a couple of minutes. Well, I just wanted to show you what these look like with ambient light, and in the pitch black they're beautiful. Look at that. Boop. There we go. Really nice on the driver's side and this side. I have ambient light here from my lean-to. However, if I turn that light off, you can see what the whole thing looks like. Let me show you the driver's side also. Now here's the driver's side in the pitch black. Really, really nice. I'm going to like these. It's a big truck, and sometimes in the dark it throws shadows. You can't see what's there. This is going to work out really well for me. Thought I'd also show you a shot in the total pitch black, because that's how I come home every day. I live out in the country and there's no ambient light. Look at that. Just beautiful. It's going to be real nice getting in and out of this truck now. I thought I'd do one more shot for you in the garage in the pitch black. And this is kind of what you come into at night or get out of the car and keep hitting the wrong button. There you go. That is really, really nice. Just really nice. Same on the other side. My wife will have no trouble getting in and out of the car. She doesn't have to worry about stumbling on anything, and neither do I.